for this latest update, I've decided to do it as a video. Um, Regular followers of my social media and email newsletter might be wondering why I've been so quiet for the last 6 weeks. And that's because every summer I'm involved in a world sporting event through my work, the work that pays the mortgage. And yeah, so I've been really full on busy with that for the last sort of 6 weeks. So if you have emailed me and you've not had a response yet, I'm really sorry about that. I'm slowly working my way and catching up now. The event finished on Saturday. I'm slowly catching up. But if there's anything urgent that I haven't responded to, please drop me an email and chase me, and I'll bump you to the top of the queue. So I'm really sorry if I haven't responded. But yeah, I do have a full-time job. Like I say, that pays the mortgage, and yeah, really important that I keep my clients happy. So a couple of things I wanted to update residents on this week, and the first is the Mindenhurst development. Quite a lot going on there. If you've noticed, if you've walked past recently, you'll see there's an enormous amount of activity going on the various phases across the development. A lot of construction going on, but one of the most exciting elements of that um, construction is the supermarket, which I've been told should be open by the end of September, beginning of October, thereabouts. I walked past there this morning, and they're really busy. They've made a lot of progress there, especially at the rear where the car park's going to be. A lot of activity there, and a lot of excitement from local residents who have been without a local supermarket for a long time now. The nearest sort of supermarkets to Deep is either the Sainsbury's at Heatherside, or the One Stop in Frimley Green, and the other store there. We've also got a very tiny store in the centre of Deep next door to Deep Cafe, which is very welcomed by a lot of residents. But they're very, very basic in what they offer. So we are, really excited about the supermarket opening. I've had quite a lot of requests from local residents about that, asking who they get in touch with in respect of employment opportunities at the supermarket. Don't have that information to hand, but the operator, ASDA, has told me that they will be advertising in due course. So keep your ears to the ground for employment opportunities. And if I hear anything, of course, I will share that with the community via my social media and my email newsletter. Now, I've also had a few inquiries about the one-way system on Mindenhurst Road. So we've got the Mindenhurst School there, and just a very brief history with that. The school, the opening of the school was delayed, but then the Lakeside School in Frimley moved from their location in Frimley into the new Mindenhurst School, and as a result, a lot of the children that go to Lakeside School aren't from Deepcut, and that means that they have to travel in by car or whatever. The school was built and originally envisaged that there would all be local children, and that will be the case as the sort of children from the Frimley School sort of filter out and go into secondary school. But for quite a few years, I don't know, 6, 7 years from the opening date, there are a lot of kids from outside the area. Now, when the environmental improvement works were done on Deepcut Bridge Road, it was decided, in order to try and mitigate the traffic that would be caused from school drop-off and pickup, that a temporary solution, that is to make Mindenhurst Road one way while they were doing the environmental improvement works, and to put in some parking spaces outside of the school. Now, that was only ever meant to be temporary, and as soon as the car park is finished outside of the school, then that one-way system will go back to two-way, and the parking spaces outside of the school will be removed, because there isn't room to have the parking spaces and for the road to be two-way. Now, I know that will be quite inconvenient to a lot of residents, but they will be able to park in the church car park once that opens. And there are some calls for that road to remain one way and those parking spaces to remain. The problem with that is that as properties are occupied, the new properties that are being built, because you know Mindenhurst is 1,200 houses in total, and that road was designed to alleviate traffic off Deach Bridge Road, you know, and serve that community who might be going both ways in terms of going to work and so on. So that road does have to go back to being two-way, because that one-way system was only ever meant to be a temporary measure. Like I say, I know that's not ideal for a lot of people, especially those that use a school, but there is no way around that, I'm afraid. And it will be going back to two-way pretty soon, as soon as that car park at the church has been completed and opened. While we're still on Mindenhurst Road, it's quite a few residents have reported to me an abandoned motorcycle. It's a little sort of 50cc scooter. It's in a pretty sorry state. It's been abandoned on Mindenhurst Road just near the church. I noticed as I walked past this morning that Surrey Heath Borough Council have placed an order. I'll overlay the order on this video, but basically, if it's not claimed within a certain amount of time, I think it was 7 or 14 days, then the council are going to remove it, which is good news because it's making the place look untidy. It's attracting a lot of unwanted attention. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that motorcycle will disappear pretty soon. Works are still continuing on the SFA, that's the Services Family Area of Deach. So these are old military housing for the military families. The owners of those properties, Annington Homes, are busy refurbishing those properties, and those properties will be put on the open market for rental pretty soon. There is some questions about the play area, which the play area within the service family area, which is by Portersbury School and the old community centre, the old military community centre. It's in a pretty sorry state, and I have asked Annington Homes what their intention is for that play area. You know, I think it's pretty fair to say that residents would like to see that play area remain as a play area. It's not actually that old. It was refurbished about 10 years ago, and I was involved with sourcing the funding for that play area. I think, if I remember right, my memory serves me right, it was about 100 grand was spent on refurbing that area. And it's a real shame if that, I mean, it's closed now. Some of the equipment's been removed. I don't know why. According to Annington Homes, it's not safe, and perhaps it wouldn't be in its current state, especially as some of the equipment's been removed. But I don't understand why that play area has been allowed to get into such a state of disrepair, especially when you consider how much money was spent on refurbishing it not that long ago, and it wasn't that heavily used. So again, I don't understand why it's been allowed to get into such a sorry state, but I'm certain residents would like to see that play area remain as a play area. And as I said, I'm talking to Annington Homes to see what their intentions are. They haven't given me a definitive answer yet, but as soon as I find out, I will let residents know. Over to St Catherine's Road now. Now, part of St Catherine's Road is in my county council division of Mitchett, Frimley Green and Deach, and the top end, where the St Catherine's Sang is, actually falls within the Frimley area. And I am looking after casework for Frimley area at the moment because the county councillor for Frimley, David Lewis, is poorly at the moment and is on sick leave. So I'm looking after his casework. So technically it is my area of responsibility. And I saw a pretty concerning post on local social media that the bench within the wooden bench within the Sangs has been vandalised. It's basically been burnt to the ground, and that's concerning. Concerning that kind of behaviour is going on in the community, and especially such destructive behaviour on the edge of a special protection area, which we know is prone to wildfires. So it's very disappointing and concerning to see that the bench has literally been burnt to the ground. There is suggestions that that has been done by local youths. I'm not convinced of that. I'm sure there are residents who have spotted youths hanging around that area, but that doesn't necessarily mean to say that youths were responsible. Um, you know, in my experience of being a counsellor for 14 years, you know, that adults are equally capable of doing such things. So I'm not going to jump to any conclusions yet until there's some definitive proof. Um, but it is disappointing. And all I would urge residents in that area is to be vigilant, keep an eye out for any antisocial behaviour going on in that location, or any location for that matter. And if you witness any antisocial behaviour and you're concerned about that sort of thing, make sure that you report that to Surrey Police on 101. And if there's a resource available, they'll send that out to deal with it. But yeah, very disappointing to see that bench being burnt to the ground. It's not really what we want in our community. Speaking of sangs, on the other side of St Catherine's Road, Surrey Heath Borough Council have purchased the land there, which they intend to turn into a sang. If you don't know what a sang is, it stands for Suitable Alternative to Natural Green Space. It's a hangover from the Natural Habitats Directive, which is a European piece of legislation which was kept after Brexit. And the idea is that when it's a mitigation for development, so that dog walkers and people who have cats keep them away from the special protection areas. And in the case of Surrey Heath, where there are ground nesting birds, whatever your views are on SANGS and the Natural Habitats Directive and Natural England and who are responsible for the legislation around that and the rules around that, whatever your views are on that, the fact is we do have to have SANGS mitigation. And Surrey Heath Borough Council have bought the land in between the St Catherine's Sang and Bellew Road, and they intend to turn that into a Sang with a car park with quite a few spaces there. And a planning application has been submitted. Now, my advice to local residents is to study that planning application, and if you have any objections or if you're in support of the planning application, make sure that you submit your views. And know that the Blackdown Road and Bellew Road Residents Association are closely looking at that. I know that they have some concerns around it, but yeah, it's important that if you do have any views either way, that you make those known to the planning authority. And if there's any advice or help that you need with that, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. I'm happy to advise. Now to the Maltway. Now, the Maltway is not my county council division. It is right on the border of my division, but it falls under the county councillor, Edward Hawkins, who's the county councillor for Heatherside and Parkside. There's been a lot of communication from residents about their unhappiness at the resurfacing works that have taken place there very recently, and that they consider it to be a botched job. And I've looked at it; it's not great. I've got to concede, but my understanding is from Trevor Hogg, who has been looking at this very closely as well, because it neighbours his division. He's the county councillor for the Old Dean. Is that they're not complete, and that they are coming back, I think today and maybe tomorrow, to complete the works. And then there's going to be a full resurfacing of those roads, apparently next year sometime, or certainly a full resurfacing of the delaminated areas, maybe not the whole of the Maltway. So the works are not finished, is my understanding, but hopefully that is going to be done to everybody's satisfaction in the coming days. And my final update is on Mitchett Road bus shelter. That's the bus shelter outside of the Water's Edge development. Now, that bus shelter was destroyed by a bus, and it took quite some time for me to get the bus shelter replaced, but we managed to achieve that. And then there was queries raised from residents about the digital passenger information board um, that wasn't added when they put in the new bus shelter. But apparently that's been done now. I haven't been down there to see it for myself, but a resident who lives very close to that has reported to me that that work has now been completed. So thankfully, we now have a fully completed bus shelter in Mitchett. As I said in the intro to this video, I've been very busy over the last 6 weeks, very, very busy work commission without hardly a day off. I'm tired, and at this time of year, so in August, generally we're very quiet at Surrey County Council. From a meetings point of view, we kind of have an unofficial recess over August. I know a lot of councillors are on holiday, as are officers. So not a lot goes on from a council point of view over August. So I've decided to take some time off. I have got some work assignments that I've got to complete over August, but I also want to take some time off. Fancy going wild camping, and if I can get 3 days away, probably going to go to Wales or maybe the Peak District. Haven't decided yet, but I am going to go away, get my head together, ready to be fighting fit in September when things ramp up again. If you have any queries, any local issues that you want me to attend to, drop me an email. I'll overlay my email address onto this video. Let me know what your issues are. I will be monitoring my emails over August, but I probably won't be sending out any email newsletters over August unless something needs to be urgently communicated to residents. So I hope you all have a great summer. Thanks for your support, and look forward to serving you busily again in September.